them.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown, Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we are live. Episode 38 on YouTube. This is our third episode on the YouTubes.
And
yeah, it's only the third.
God, I feel like it's like 10.
Well, I mean, this is episode 38, but this is the third episode on YouTube. We did we did that whole test, so maybe it's like our fourth.
Sure.
Because we talked for like an hour that night. Anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 38. What a great week for comics. Just gonna get out of the way right now. I feel like it's an A week. If I were to break it down in a letter grade, it was definitely an A, I believe.
I'll give it A minus.
A minus, okay. All right, that's fair. That's fair. But before we start the show, like we always do, we got some business to take care of. So first of all, we're going to talk about Two Fat Guys Pool List Mystery Pool, the monthly comic book subscription box. So we are obviously in the month of April, and we are getting ready to ship that box out. So if you would like, or if you are already currently subscribed, what you will get is one store exclusive, 4 to 7 back issues, ranging anywhere from bronze, silver, or modern age books, and then a chance to win a big key, or more specifically for this month, we are giving away a custom cover, the Avenging Spider-Man Brian Dunham cover.
Ooh,
so he did this himself, homage to the...
Do you remember the issue number?
Sure don't. You're going to have to tell me.
It's the ASM 129, first appearance of Punisher.
Too many numbers. Anyway, this is a sick cover. So one lucky winner will win this. So just go to brainycomics.com and you will enter in a chance to win this when you get your monthly subscription box for the month of April. And that is going on until the very end of April. And then Ron will ship out all the boxes. Also, every box will be getting a Magic Number 1 Haas cover, John Haas cover. And this cover artist is the guy that actually does a lot of the Magic cards. So everyone will be getting one of these kick-ass Magic Number 1 exclusives from Boom Studios. So we're super excited about that. One other thing before we kick off the show. Obviously, we're here on YouTube. We have a YouTube giveaway right now, a slab giveaway going on right now. We are giving away a slab at 250 subscribers. We're well on our way. Last I checked, we are at 120 subscribers. So I think last week we were at like 108. I can't remember, but we've definitely jumped this week. So when we hit 250 subscribers, we are giving away... Hold it before we started the show. This 9.8 CGC graded Batman Who Laughs not Death, Dark Knight Metal tie-in. So this is his first book essentially. And it's a nice cover, foil cover. So we will be giving this away at 250 subscribers. We are 130 away. So we can make it happen, guys. We can give this away. And then, we're giving some other slabs away at 500 and 1,000, but you'll have to go and watch our slab video to find out what those books are. But they're pretty cool.
The Very nice.
Very nice. So,
before we continue, let's also do one more piece of business.
Mm-hmm.
Will you share your screen with me on Discord?
Oh, yes. I thought I did.
You didn't. Oh, thanks, Boo. Now I can see everything.
There it is.
Perfect. We're done.
Okay. Oh, was that it? That was the only business? I was thinking it was like business for actual viewers.
Nope, it was just insider trading there.
Okay. So we're gonna kick off the show again. Welcome to everybody that's here. Make sure to make yourselves known in the chat. Give us a like, comment, please, and here we go. We're gonna kick off the show. So, starting off the show, we are starting with. I said a lot of starts there.
Starting in the start. Where we start? The starting
is the start and end. It looks like of the Snark War and Sword issue 5 from Al Ewing. Yeah, I really dug this issue.
Yes. This was a very, very fun issue.
Very nice.
It was very nice.
So, we're just going to kick it off. So, originally, when this was announced, and the Snark War kind of got, like, snuck in there in the middle of the King in Black tie-in, right? We got it when we were doing, what's his name? The guy I like. Is it Forge? No, not Forge. The guy that can bend space and time.
Shoot. Gateway is his uncle, but I can't remember his name.
Anyway, that guy.
Yep,
he kind of stumbled onto the Snark War, so we actually get the conclusion. I wouldn't say conclusion, but we have some manipulation going on in this book. This book basically has two stories going on. We've got Snark War, and then we also have Fabian calling council with the Quiet Council. So the book starts with the Snark War, and we've got rivalry siblings, basically rattling their sabers essentially amongst one another, going like, "I'm going to be ruler. No, I'm going to be ruler." And while they're doing this whole pomp and circumstance of yelling at each other, one of them gets promptly assassinated.
Yes.
and we have no idea who does it. We have to assume it's a mutant. But so one of the brothers gets killed, and then the assassin and Amelia, what is her name? Amelia Walters? It's I can't remember her name. Yeah, no, Amelia Vault. I'm sorry. Vote. She shows up to one of the other siblings. You know, there are 3 currently. So she shows up to like the female sibling and another brother sibling. Getting mad at each other. What up, Maddie? How's it going, bud? She shows up and she actually someone murders the brother, the last remaining brother of the Snarks.
Yeah.
And
Snarks.
She pops up, and when I first read that, when the brother was talking to the sister and they were like going back at each other, saying like, you know, they had to like trial by combat right in front of each other, and then he died. I thought she set that up. I thought the sister set that up. But she's completely caught off guard too. She's like, you know, Amelia shows up and she's like, "Why'd you do that?" And she basically tells her that she's going to. The mutants' sword is tipping the scales. They're putting the weight on the scale, and they're choosing who's going to be the next rightful ruler of the Snarks. And she promptly has a new mutant show up to assassinate the sister, and it's so this is technically a key, I guess, because this is a new mutant from the island of Araco, and she does her thing. She slices.
She gets a cool panel, like full panel reveal.
Yeah,
too.
She shows up and slices. Yep. And so the cool thing about this character is her heart is like an engine, and it emits energy, it emits heat, but she also amplifies other mutants' powers, but based off of her passion or rage. So that's the kind of detail we get with her. So Sword has put it upon themselves to pick the rightful ruler of the Snarks, and so we get a new cameo of this mutant. I forget her name.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's basically. This is a key book. So if you've gotten this book, take care of it. We may see this mutant, later on down the road.
Her name is Cora of the Burning Heart.
Cora of the Burning Heart. She's fucking cool, man. And she's, you know, in Abigail's breakdown of her, you know, she's more concerned about the island of Araco than really Krakoa. So well, there's a little bit of chess playing going on here with Abigail and I think the mutants too. I just don't think they know it yet. Anyway, so that's that first part of the book. The second part of the book, and it kind of interweaves through it, but I'm just kind of cutting them in half. The second part of the book is Fabian being called on by the council, or he calls the council together to discuss the second law of Krakoa, which is murder no human. And, this was hinted at, I think, in issue 4, I think it is, where Fabian it looks like he convinces Magneto that they need to change this law. So going into this book, we're thinking, oh shit, Magneto's about to turn. He's had enough of Krakoa. He's ready to start killing humans. No. We find out in this book that he's actually just using Fabian as a example to say, you will never be able to break my resolve. I am 100% committed to the island of Krakoa and its laws. And so we get Fabian basically throwing it out there that they need to re-examine it and start, when it is acceptable, I guess, to kill humans, that they should kill humans because they're going to die anyway, right? What up, Dak? You're here too. Jaden, what's going on?
Oh, boy.
Man, we got a crew tonight. But basically, Fabian goes on this tirade about, how we need to start considering killing humans because they're always coming after us. And he sounds like Magneto back in the day. And I thought for sure Magneto was going to turn, and he flips the script and he says, nope, we're going to make an example out of you. You're playing with fire here. And if you want to continue going down this road, we can throw you in the pit. We can do it. You can go be Buckmanes with Sabretooth.
Yeah, I like that they are consistently holding on to Magneto's new status quo. I have always been really afraid that they were going to change that, and that's one of my absolute favorite parts of Hickman's run is the I don't know, this seems like the sort of situation where Magneto's thriving. Anyway, I just really like that. We actually see that a little bit more in the next book as well. So,
well, I think that's also, I think Hickman and the X Office are using that against the readers. We're anticipating the fall of Magneto, and he kind of Hickman's done that in the X-Men run. They're always talking about how he is the hero of the island, and you just get this idea of well, heroes fall, they fall all the time, and it's so easy to just make that assumption. So I'm very fearful. I like you said, I like this Magneto. I like that Magneto is sticking to his principles of the island, and it's easy as readers because he has such a tainted past of just being quick to judge that whenever there is a moment of weakness being presented to the reader, I think that's on purpose. And they've done a good job. Ewing did a really good job of completely pulling the wool over our eyes, and then him being not, he sticks with it. And yeah, I really enjoyed the issue. So essentially what happens is the Araco mutant is now taking place of Fabian. Fabian's being cast aside. He's not necessarily put in jail. He's just kind of you're off the team. And I don't know if that's true because I've seen some solicitations where he's still on the cover. So maybe he gets back in. I don't know.
Maybe that, or I wonder if he starts playing a little bit of an antagonist to this book and maybe trying to cause some problems for Sword.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, I think we need more. It sounds weird, but I think we need more baddie mutants. I think with everybody being part of the family, I think there needs to be a couple black sheep for sure.
Yeah, I actually like that we've gone this long without really having that. It helped make this feel like a real transition. That we were actually the mutants are coming together. There's so many former foes that are putting their differences aside, but yeah, I think we're at the point now where we could do a couple of mutant baddies.
Oh, for sure. And I think we kind of got a little taste of that in the last Children of the Atom issue too, of just rogue mutants that don't want to come to the island.
Well, but then they get convinced to come to the island.
That's true. So we need, outside of the Shadow King, we might need some more
And even he technically hasn't done anything wrong yet. He's been a little shady, but
not yet. But he's doing some shady shit.
Right, he's definitely doing something shady.
Either way, this was a solid issue. I am absolutely in love with Ewing's X-Men book. I think it's probably one of the top 3 books right now in the X-Men run.
For sure.
It really feels like Ewing and the next book that we're going to talk about, both of those authors are sitting right next to Ewing's office, even though it's probably they're all working from home. But they just seem to be in tight knit with Hickman's view, and I'm all for it. All for it.
Yeah.
So that is Sword number 5. Next up, we have a new number 1, Way of X number 1.
Did you do the thing?
No, because you got to tell me.
Oh, sorry. This is my pick of the week.
That's nice.
Oh, see, I can see it on our thing now. That'll be better.
There you go.
All right. So yeah.
Well, one more time.
Okay.
That's
Here it is.
All right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Now, I read all of these books in an absolute state of delirium. So, maybe
that's kind of fitting for this book.
It is kind of fitting for this book. So this is the book that we've been waiting on for a little bit. That's initially was put forth like it was going to be Nightcrawler starting a religion, essentially. I don't remember what book it was in. I think it was maybe X-Men. But there's a conversation between Xavier and Nightcrawler about having some kind of bonding or unifying cultural aspect for the mutants. That they all really have cultural identities that are outside of being mutants, and that they don't really all share. And so maybe they need to do that. So that's sort of what the culmination of this book is.
But
it's not quite that. So the book starts out with Professor Xavier waking from a nightmare where he sees some, shadowy figure, and he checks in on Nightcrawler, who is currently on a mission. Dropping in with Blink, DJ, who I'm not familiar with, Pixie, and I think it's Lola. I can't remember.
Lola, yeah. DJ, by the way, I had an idea for a mutant, and then when I saw this, I was like, well, that's already taken. We'll get more into that, but go for it.
Yeah. So we're still not exactly sure what the culmination of this book is going to be. So it's probably not quite a religion, but we obviously are getting some type of allegory to the Bible, because our first data page is from the first Florigellum Preambles and Brain Farts 1 through 5. Like it reads exactly like a header, like you would like a Bible verse or something. But basically we find out that, and we've also got a hint of this too. Some of the mutants just don't have, some of the older mutants don't have this idea that like resurrection is just sort of whatever. At one point, some of the younger members that are on this strike team with Nightcrawler are basically talking about Pixie having her first time, and it sounds a little vulgar, and then you realize they're talking about her dying for the first time, and how it's just like, well, everyone does it, like everyone's got to get through it, like you got to experience death for the first time. And Nightcrawler's just over here like, what the fuck? Yeah. And Nightcrawler has been in continuity, has been dead, and was dead for a while. And so
and he died in Hoxpox too. He literally burned to a crisp on the sun.
Yes. So he's over here, and we have an allusion to or not allusion, we have Storm saying the exact same thing in her Giant Size series, or her Giant Size issue, where she's like, it doesn't matter that you can just resurrect me, like this is my life, like this is, I don't want to lose this life, I don't want to lose this body, this is me. And during this it was shockingly violent, but during this mission, Pixie literally runs up to a guy with a shotgun and like sticks her head in his face what does she say?
She's like, they need to have a little bit of guilt because they're fighting a group of people that are associated with what's the name of the group? Orchid or Oryx?
Orcus,
Orcus, and they're basically creating it like their own religion against, like a hate religion against mutants.
Exactly.
So they get caught in this church or whatever, and then that's when what you're about to say happens.
Yes, she puts her face in front of the gun, says something smart, and gets her head completely blown off.
I was completely unsettled.
Well, not only does that happen, but then all of the other mutants besides Nightcrawler start cheering.
Yeah, like giggling.
They're like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, this is exactly what we were going for.
Yeah, no.
So that was a little disturbing.
Very unsettling.
Then we cut to a scene of them back on the island. There's like a funny scene with Magneto, but basically we see a juxtaposition of our previous Magneto, the Magneto that we've had for a really long time. Whether he was a good guy or bad guy, his motivations were the same. His motivations are the protection of mutantdom, no matter what the cost.
Right.
But he was always been like pretty staunchly like, I don't care at all about making any rules or following any rules. And they sort of poke fun at him by putting up this statue that has his old his like very original suit from like X-Men number 1, 1963. It's got like the little horns on it and stuff. And he basically has like a big speech about taking things seriously and how they're all in it together, yada yada.
For Krakoa.
For Krakoa, exactly. And then he basically kind of chastises I keep calling him Nightcrawler. What is his actual name? I've been trying to think of it this whole time and I can't think of it.
I don't remember. I feel like it starts with a V. I'll look while you talk.
Maddie, tell us what it is. Surely you know.
Yeah, you know who Nightcrawler's name is.
So while he's walking around, we see this strange woman who's kind of like all bent over and humpback and has like a cane and kind of like asks for help. And he's like, oh, you must be new here. Like the help center's over there, and kind of brushes her off. Seems very uncharacteristic, but Nightcrawler sort of just in his head at the moment. She will come up later on in the issue. Man, I wish I had written my synopses.
You're good.
I don't want to skip over too much of the Dr. Nemesis stuff, but I honestly, if you want to chime in, I don't remember.
So
this.
Dr.
got so bothered by his mushroom head hair.
Yeah, that's also extremely unsettling. So he meets up with a character called Dr. Nemesis in the book, and he basically tells Nightcrawler that he is the reason for the miracle drugs that we have in Hawksbox. The island obviously was the source, but he was able to engineer, the things that take away human disease and extend life by 5 years and all this jazz. So he's kind of the engineer of that. He's taken from Krakoa and created these things. So we get an answer from 2 years ago of like how they created these medicines, but now he's creating psychedelics for mutants, and he's doing it by growing mushrooms and plants on his head, and it's like Kurt. There it is.
Yes,
his name is Kurt.
Kurt Wagner. That's what it is.
Oh my god, Samsonite. That's from Dumb and Dumber. Anyway, Dr. Nemesis is basically working on a new drug for mutants, and I guess he's working on this way to basically have people or mutants kind of forget, pain and stuff like that. So he's working on numerous drugs, but he's doing it all in the name of science. And so it's him and Nightcrawler have an extensive talk, and basically throughout this entire book, Kurt, now I can say that, is just dealing with a lot. He's having an identity crisis essentially. With himself and even in his Catholic faith. And this book is thick. It is a heavy number 1, as it should be. But there is a lot going on in this book, because we haven't even gotten into the fact that Professor X is dealing with some shit that is kind of wrapped up in this book too.
Yeah.
But in general, this Nightcrawler is not happy with the way things are going on Krakoa, right? Like he doesn't like the attitude towards resurrection, like the kids, like, oh, everybody does it, right? That hurts him. And then he has a real problem with the Crucible. We've seen the Crucible before, right? Like we've seen it in X-Men. We've seen it in a couple other issues where it's a solution to somebody that's been depowered, right? And it's almost a trial by fire. But we get a completely different view of the Crucible through Nightcrawler's eyes. Like it's heavy.
Yes. So we see the character that we were just talking about, the like hunched over person, has basically like come here to to be in the Crucible. And she was looking out for Nightcrawler specifically because she was like, I heard you, I don't remember what she says exactly. I heard you were gentle, or I heard you were compassionate. And she ends up in the Crucible with Magneto, who's, trying to make, I don't want to say necessarily making an example of her, but I think once he realizes Nightcrawler's there, he kind of does make an example out of her, and it's basically like stabbing her, like with his powers, like throwing blades at her the whole time, like stabbing into her and knocking her down, and like not just straight up killing her. It's pretty brutal.
Well, I mean, I think Apocalypse kind of did the same thing, where you have to fight for it. You have to show some kind of grit, I guess you could say, to earn the right to get your powers back. Like they're not just going to happen. But yeah, it's pretty brutal.
It's still brutal, and basically Kurt's biggest problem is after it's over and he kills her and stuff, his problem is the entire arena is filled with cheering people.
Right.
And he's like, whatever this cultural shift is, whatever this like cultural identity that is being cultivated on Krakoa right now, I don't like this. Like, I don't want, these aren't the people I know. These aren't like mutant. This isn't mutantdom that I know.
Yeah.
And so we flash over to basically to this woman being resurrected with actually a really funny panel. Like one of her powers is like manipulation of gravitational pulls or something. Yeah. And so she basically is like causing changes in gravity that makes everybody's inner ears like thrum really, 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 really fast. Mm-hmm. And they all get super sick, and Magneto starts puking, and then they all start puking, and then Kurt's just kind of standing there. He's like, nah, I guess I got good balance or something.
So the reason why she's got that power, so when you first get introduced to her, she's like a hunchback, and her body's like covered in like a blanket or whatever, and she's got like a cane. Well, when she's resurrected, she's like extremely long, and so her powers allow her to straighten out, and so gravity messes with her. So if she uses her powers, she's not achy, but she has no control over that whole equilibrium shit. So whenever she's around somebody, she's making people throw up, and then she ends up becoming an outcast even as she's a mutant, and it's kind of that also hits Kurt a little hard too.
Yeah. He also we also get a glimpse. This is the second time, I forgot to mention it earlier. This is the second time we get a glimpse of like a weird creature in the shadows. Mm-hmm. Pixie notices it this time. And then Kurt and Professor X basically have a conversation about, a lot of the things that Kurt's having problems with in this cultural identity thing. But then he also talks about, there's someone, Professor X says there's someone that I think is causing some problems here on the island. And you know who it is? And Kurt's like, no, I don't know who it is. And Xavier's like very like beating around the bush, and it's just like, I haven't been a very good father. And then Kurt's like, oh yeah, that's all you had to say. I definitely know what you're talking about now. And then we see Kurt kind of terrorized by a dream, which is very similar to Professor X's dream in the beginning. And I am not familiar with the grave that he goes to visit. Do you know who that is?
I'm not either. I feel like it's the character we're talking about's mother.
It's not. It is not her. It's not. No.
Then it's something. It's something
I don't
that
think
he's
maybe it is. But I don't think
either. Well, that person has some kind of relationship. Okay, we're gonna point it out. The last character that we're dealing with, who pops up in this book, is Professor X's son, Legion. Legion. Yes. Everyone has been wondering when Legion's gonna show up. Legion shows up, and we kind of skipped over this, but the beginning of the book has Professor X waking up in like a sweat because he had a nightmare that Legion was basically projecting into his mind. And Legion, I think, is another mutant that can probably upend the idea of Krakoa
pretty easily,
outside of like time travelers and time seers. And so he wants to, I think he's trying to figure out a way to include Legion. I don't know if it's going to work. But Legion is not, he's obviously not happy with his father. And what I really liked about that panel at the beginning of the book was you see all of Professor X's kids, right? You see his Shi'ar daughter, which I thought was really cool. And then he's holding a picture of Legion, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And basically Legion is tapping into Nightcrawler's brain, and it's just like, something's not right, and you know it. You know that Krakoa is tainted. I'm going to show you whether you like it or not. And so Legion shows up at the end of the book, hovering over the grave, dissolving either physically or mentally Nightcrawler's essence. And so now we're going into the many minds of Legion here very soon. Jaden asked, have we seen the show Legion? I've seen the first season. I haven't not seen the other parts of it.
I have not seen it yet. I have heard that I should watch it though.
It's really good. But what we get in this book is we essentially finally get to figure out where the hell Legion's been. So that's one less Omega level mutant that has been crossed off the list. There's a lot of intrigue in this book.
Yeah, there's a lot of big picture stuff in this book, which honestly, like, I've really been enjoying the rabbit trails we've been going down with Excalibur and X Factor and stuff. But so a lot of those books are like telling good stories that happen to be taking place in Krakoa, and we haven't lately been getting a ton of big idea books about the overarching picture of Krakoa and the changes that are happening to mutantdom. And this first issue was exactly about that. It obviously had a really good story that we were following, but like really it was an overarching sort of a catch up almost of the new cultural identity that is forming on Krakoa.
Yeah, and I think it could lead to some pretty big ramifications within mutantdom. I think we're gonna get, I want to say left and right sides, right? But it could definitely go down that road. I think we could see a little bit of a civil war on Krakoa if we continue down this road, which I know we're going to. Yeah,
I do want to add. I'm really excited about Legion showing up. I actually had a slight feeling that he was going to. There's a really good podcast out there if you haven't heard of it. It's called Jay and Miles Explain the X-Men, where they literally start with X-Men 1 and just go and explain the X-Men as they go. But they have certain issues or certain episodes in between where they talk to current writers and their current runs and stuff like that. And I think it was in like 2015 to 2016 they were covering. Cy Spurrier was writing, I think, Uncanny at the time, and he was writing a huge 12-issue arc that had to do with Legion. And they were they put on their Twitter, I think it was Jay that did, put on his Twitter that was like, hey, Cy Spurrier is the greatest writer that's ever written Legion, so just keep that in mind when Way of X gets released. And then here we go, we've got Legion. So
promptly shows up.
I'm excited that people that I guess know literally every X-Men story ever are like, hey, Cy Spurrier knows what he's doing with Legion.
I'm excited for it. I didn't really know what to expect of this book, and now that I've read it, I'm like, yep, this has Hoxpox like written all over it. It just feels like it's cemented in Hickman's original story, and I think with the next couple X-Men books that have been announced, I think we're really going to get into some real deep stuff. We're in the middle of the reign, right? Like you would it's safe to assume that there are 3 parts, right? And we're on the second part, We're about to crest, and then at some point we're going to go down. But, I'm just loving these books that actually have some weight, that are answering some questions and giving us more questions, which makes me want to read the books even more. That's the whole point.
Yep.
So,
no doubt.
That is, again, Nate's.
That's Nate's Pick of the Week.
I really wish I could hear that.
You just have to watch back, because I'll make this video one of the videos that we pull out. So that is that. So next up, we have X-Force number 19, the end of the Omega Kid story arc before we get into the gala. Be kind of short and sweet on this one. I enjoyed the story in this book. I enjoy the cover on this book. I enjoy the writing in this book, but the artwork this was probably the sloppiest X-Force I've read since we started reading. But this
isn't our main
right.
This isn't our main artist either.
No. So essentially what we have is we're concluding this whole Omega Kid dies a lot, and no one's been really keeping up with his deaths, and we come to realize that people have been stealing his body and making clones out of his body. And so this is Omega Kid and one of the Cuckoo Sisters and Jean Grey.
She gets pulled back in once again. She keeps trying to quit the team. But...
Yep. Previous issue, Beast died, so there's no real leadership amongst the X-Force. So we call Jean back in. Plus, we're dealing with the psychic foe in Omega Kid's clone. And so, again, in the previous issue, Omega Kid got like a upgrade in personality and in his uniform. And in this issue, he gets an upgrade in his powers. He learns how to navigate the astral plane of psychicdom, basically. And so he has to track down his clone. So he calls on Jean Grey to teach him how to do that. And, he's successful in it, but at the same time, Jean's kind of hesitant because Omega Kid's arrogant and he's all about himself. And she doesn't quite know what he'll do with this, but she clearly sees a transformation in Omega Kid, right? Yeah. She sees that he's actively trying to become a better person. So, they do their thing. They figure out that they need to track this guy down before he gives anybody else psychic nightmares. And while they're doing this, while they're in this astral plane to try to find Omega Kid's clone, they get, I believe it's Forge. No, not Forge. Domino and... Who's the other person? Somebody else.
Is it Tom Cassidy?
Maybe. No, he's actually corrupted. It's Jean Grey and Domino, because Jean Grey taught him how to do it so that they can... Right. They're basically, Domino and Jean are trying to find the actual physical body, while Omega Kid tries to kill the brain. So at some point, one of the teams is going to get him, whether it's psychically or physically. And so that's what, they were able to track down Omega Kid's clone body, and Omega Kid is able to find him and has to fight him on his own in the astral plane. Mm-hmm. And before Jean and Domino can actually kill the physical body, basically Omega Kid is able to overcome this clone, because Jean tells him something very important. You are your own worst enemy. If you feel like you're weak, you're going to be weak. You need to project strength, because if you don't, you will die. And so that's what he does. He realizes that he can tell himself that he's stronger than his clone, and so he does. And he's actually, if I'm not mistaken, they're like wrestling in the astral plane, and he creates a pistol and just puts it up against the clone's head and just boom, blows his head off in the astral plane. And so when Domino and Jean are about to pull the trigger on the physical body, it goes dead, and she's like, there's no need, he took care of it. Yeah. But before they leave, they're at this facility where he's been cloned. Jean goes, it's Domino. Domino goes, we need to completely scrub this place, because I've been here before. I've been cloned. I've been used as a test subject by Xeno. We need to completely scrub this place. So they burn it down to the ground. And, we get a good character development arc for Omega Kid. I think now we're going to probably keep count of people's bodies when they die on X-Force. More specifically Omega Kid, because if his body gets into the wrong hands, people start having demon nightmares, just like on this cover.
Yes.
So that's how the book ends, and then it immediately goes into getting ready for the Hellfire Gala. I think all of our books are really going to end and jump into the Hellfire Gala, which they need to. But overall, I enjoyed the story. I thought it was fun to like finally like get Percy acknowledging the fact that Omega Ked dies in every issue and what the hell happens to his bodies because no one was really keeping track of it. And what was going on is that his body was being used as a weapon against Krakoa. And again, my only criticism of this arc is I wish we had our main artist on it, because the story's good. The coloring by Guru EFX is amazing. Yep. The artwork's just not there. I mean, Brown, I'm not trying to be overly critical, but it just wasn't my thing. And that was the only thing that took me out of it.
Just not our style.
Yeah, it kind of took me out of the book. So overall, really enjoyed it, but probably could have, if we just kept her, who knows? Maybe our main artist is working on something nice and spicy, so we'll find out.
I think he's doing a couple of Hellfire Gala books.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, that's going to take some time. So, it didn't deter me to the point where I'm like, I'm never reading X-Force again. No,
of course not.
It was really good, but, it was a nice little arc getting us ready for Hellfire Gala.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have anything else to say on it? Mm-mm. No? Okay. All right. That finishes up our X books, and we go into Alien number 2. Number 2.
So, first issue was good. First issue was like, a good. So I was telling James this at work earlier, but the thing I like about this book that we did in issue 1 that continues in issue 2 is, this. It seems like Philip Kennedy Johnson is sticking more towards the style of horror from Alien instead of Aliens, very much letting your brain do the tricking, and the thrill is really of like what you think's kind of around the corner instead of just like it's not a hack and slash of aliens just killing everything.
I think that's the best kind of horror in my opinion, and I hate horror.
Yes, I always say that I hate horror, but I don't know. A third of my pull right now are like horror books. So.
I was gonna say, like, you were reading Stephen King's Son's books like religiously.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't think any of those were scary. They were good, but I just didn't find them scary.
They were gross.
Some of them were very gross. Anyway, so basically, with this book, we start off with Cruz finding out that his someone from his work shows up and is like, "Hey, so we know you just got off the station up there, but you're gonna need to go back." And he's like, "What are you talking about? What?" And they're like, "Yeah, some terrorists attacked it, and you recognize this guy?" And they show him a picture of his son in there, and he's like, "No, you doctored this photo. There's no way." And he's like, "Where's your key card, bud? Where's your key card?" And he's like, "Oh shit! No, I gotta go save him." So basically, the guy is like, "Yeah, so we're blowing the thing up because they've got living subjects on the ship. You don't get an exact understanding of what's on the ship, but because they're talking in code, they're like, oh, specimen B, specimen Alpha, specimen Zeta, whatever. There's just, and so you don't really know what's up there, like what's on the station. And they're like, if we don't hear from you by this amount of time, we're blowing it up. I don't give a shit if you're on there or not. This is what's going on. And he's like, okay, well, I'll get up there and I'll save my son, and then we'll come back and then blow it up so that the specimens don't get to Earth. And they're like, no, you're going up there to save the specimens and bringing them to Earth. And if your son happens to still be alive, then okay, cool. He'll be going to jail when he gets back. Like, it was very just intense. And so they're like, we're sending you with 2 basically privates, grunts, to go up there and give you backup. And he's like, no, why don't you just give me 5 cents? That will be better, and we don't have to worry about lives being lost in case. Right. So they're like, yeah, these guys are cheaper to replace than the synths are. Shit. I was just like, oh man, you really. I think that this issue, what is the name of the company again?
Wayland
Yutani. Yes. You really get a sense of the evilness that I think Johnson is gonna continue to kind of pound on is like, this is a really evil company. I almost wonder if there's not a little bit of a message in there about
corporations,
corrupt corporations and stuff. Anyway, so we get a quick little back and forth with them on the ship going up to the station with him and the two grunts. They're calling him old man and all of this stuff. It's not super important or very interesting, except we get another very quick flashback. So in the first issue, we get a couple of flashbacks of him inside like a stasis pod, like this cover is, and it says alien inside, but he's on the inside looking at this thing. So, and you can see it right here too. It says alien inside. The issue is that he obviously didn't write that. He's in the cryo chamber. Someone wrote that there's an alien inside, but he's inside. And so you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And so I'm really interested. This is another little trickle. Like, what it seems like to me is that at some point in his past, he had a face sucker attached to him or something. God. Or he got it out or something. And then they, in an attempt to save him, maybe threw him in a cryo stasis chamber.
Oh, boy.
And he survives. He somehow, to me, this is what it seems. It's like he somehow gets infected with an alien and he survives. And so
do you think he still has an alien inside of him?
No, because this is from his past. Like, this is probably like 10 or 15 years ago or something like that.
Or he's an android.
So there's a couple of things here. he could be an android, or we could have some freaky Alien 4 shit going on.
Like he's got infused alien DNA in him.
Mm-hmm, and he's like an alien human hybrid, and we get that weird pink shit. Have you seen the fourth Alien movie?
No.
And it gets sucked out the hole and stuff?
Nope.
Okay, never mind. If you've seen Alien 4, you know what I'm talking about. Basically, spoiler alert for the worst Alien film, and possibly one of the worst films of all time. Sigourney Weaver's character, Ripley, gives birth to a human-alien hybrid, and it's fucking vile. And the way that they destroy it is by blowing a hole in the hole, and it gets sucked out of it, but the hole's only like this big, and it's like a 6-foot alien.
Yeah.
So it's like and like its guts start spraying out, and it's really, really vile.
Well, this is fun.
Yeah, sorry, we went way off track there. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting that Kennedy's basically just Johnson's just dropping these hints. So we get on the station, and the whole place is fucked. Like, everything is destroyed. Like, the red lights blinking. Like, every single station that was holding a specimen is broken. And the grunts are like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is this? Because they don't, they literally have no idea what's going on up there. They just know it's a science station.
Right.
And he was like, oh, actually, I'm sorry, that is not true. That was one of them. The other one's like, oh yeah, we're just like, this is just an easy like bug. We're just gonna stomp on some bugs. Like, it's no big deal. Like, he sort of has some type of understanding. But then they come across this weird dinosaur looking thing, but it's like a small, like, can fit in your hand, sort of small. And they're like, what were you guys doing up here? And they're like, oh, well, they are Earth animals, and we were letting them get purposefully infected to see what would happen.
No.
It seems like Wayland's maybe trying to weaponize like animals by infecting them with alien, aliens. So they get up to the door where Alpha is supposed to be, and she gone. It ain't there anymore. Doors open, nothing's in there. And so everyone's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. What's going on? What was Alpha? They're like, oh god, what was Alpha?
Gee, I wonder what Alpha was.
They heard a little bit of rustling in the lockers, and they rip open a door, and it's the surviving scientist lady from the first issue. And she's like, you shouldn't have come here. You shouldn't have come here. And we get a couple of face suckers jump out, and one of the grunts gets, obviously taken out. And one of the other grunts is chasing it. He's like, yeah, I got him on the run. We're going to fucking get him. and he turns a corner, and you just see a really dark, long egg-shaped shadow, and then there's a ad, so you have to turn the page, and then he's been fucking impaled by the tail of an alien, of a full-grown alien on a spaceship that is in Earth's orbit.
Cool.
And he's getting the side skin of his face ripped off. And then it goes back to a panel back to the doctor or the scientist. She's like, oh my god, oh no, I'm sorry. His face gets scratched, and the thing he's holding in his hand is actually his rib cage. The alien literally rips out his entire rib cage. It just looks so small because the alien's so big.
God, Jesus.
And the grunt says, "What is that?" And Cruz goes, "It's his rib cage."
God damn.
And then she was like, "I told you, none of us should have ever come." It was a really good issue. It was really fun. It got a little it felt like it dragged a little bit in the middle when there was like 3 pages of the interaction between the grunts and him, and they were basically like, "What are you doing here, old man?" Like it was, I didn't really get it, but I was actually talking to someone in a Facebook group about it, and they were like, "Oh, this is a great example of Philip Kennedy Johnson." Basically, he was saying like, "Oh, I felt like I could relate to this because I was in the military, and these are the kind of conversations we have."
Okay.
And Johnson was in the military, so actually, I think he's still in the reserves.
I believe so.
And so they were like, "Yeah, this was so cool. Like, it felt like I was part of that conversation. Like, he's like, I felt like I was going on the mission too. So maybe I just missed it. Anyway, this was very nearly my pick of the week. It was a really good issue.
Ooh.
So I, for a very casual Aliens fan who only picked this book up because of the writer, I'm very excited for the next issue.
Nice. Well, cool. Yeah. That's awesome. All right, next up we have Avengers number 45. Supposedly a King in Black tie-in, and not really. Aftermath, but not even that. Yeah, we were both like poo-pooing the shit out of this book in our comic book haul video, but we were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Jason Aaron, man.
Dude, like it's been like where have you been, dude? Like he's
there's a little glimpse of him here.
A little bit for sure. So what we get in this book is, in a nutshell, we have this was kind of hinted in the last Wolverine issue. The Dracula and the Vampire Nation want to become like Krakoa. They want to be recognized by the world as a nation state within Chernobyl. Yeah, that's what they want, and they want to live amongst the Daywalkers, whether it's siphoning blood from Wolverine or figuring out another way. And so what we get in this book is the Avengers are off doing their thing, doing their Jason Aaron Avengers thing, to the point where real world consequences are happening without them noticing it. Whereas if they had been there to influence it, shit would not go wrong. Right? So while they're playing Phoenix is Thor's mama, Dracula has been using his influence within the U.S. to gain favor to become recognized by the United States as a nation state of vampires. So that's what we get in this book. And the Avengers are like, this can't happen. Right?
Yeah.
And the Squadron Supreme are kind of like, it already did, and y'all fucked up. So deal with it.
Ooh, I fucked up.
So we get a little bit of glimpse into like what we're going to be seeing, I think, in Heroes Reborn with how the Squadron Supreme deals with problems. So I think there's a little hint there. But what we get in this book is Panther using his strategic and superior mind to outthink the vampires, right? Mm-hmm. So the U.S. gives them sovereignty, gives them they acknowledge the nation state. They're going to send them synthesized blood so they don't feed on humans, so that they can become civilized, right? And clearly Dracula, he's got a game going on here. We don't, something's up.
Right.
But in Panther's way, he's able to manipulate the situation and get the last punch in. And what he essentially does is he goes, all right, you're recognized as a nation state. We're giving you back your little Hellfire Demon puppy that we have in our in our base that, screwed everything up a couple issues ago or a bunch of issues back. But there's a catch. And Dracula's like, what a game are you playing? And what we find out is Panther negotiated that there will be law and order in the vampire nation state, and that law and order is none other than Blade, and he will be the sheriff in town. That's basically this issue in a nutshell. Now we get more character dives into all the Avengers and how they're pushing themselves even harder to be better Avengers. We get a really, really cool back and forth between Ghost Rider and Echo.
Yeah, that was really good.
Really awesome. Just like no one's really kind of approaching Echo because she's the new Phoenix. They're kind of scared of her. Whereas Ghost Rider's like, man, I'm a fucking agent of hell. Like, I get it. Fire. And so we get a really cool back and forth between them. And what I really liked about it is he's trying to show her some compassion, show her that like she can control what she's dealing with. You can either think of yourself as an agent of hell or someone that is taming the flames, basically. Yeah. And while he's having this conversation, it's in his human form. So she's able to read his lips because Echo is deaf, right? So when he finally, puts the exclamation point on his argument, he transforms into Ghost Rider. Well, his Ghost Rider form, the mouth doesn't move. Yeah, it doesn't have skin, and the mouth doesn't move.
He doesn't have lips, yeah.
So he doesn't have lips. So when he, puts it on there and, gives her a sandwich and, here's my argument, she goes, hey, yeah, you don't have any skin anymore, so I can't really read your lips, but I think I got the point. I figured it out.
Oh, that was my absolute favorite part of the book. It was so funny.
Really good. So, overall, this was actually, I don't like vampires. I've been somewhat disappointed in Jason Aaron's run, and somehow he was able to fucking flip the script, and I actually enjoyed the issue. It felt like Jason Aaron. It didn't feel rushed, and it didn't feel like we had to have read the last two issues and we didn't get those two issues and we were just dropped into this thing. We had some decent story development going on here. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I will say I have one criticism of this book, and it's a strong criticism. However, it has nothing to do with the book itself or Jason Aaron, and that is that they put the King in Black tie-in header on this book.
Exactly.
There's absolutely zero reason for that to have been there. I understand the stretch because there were, because of what Blade did in the King of Black, it had consequences in this book. But that's not what tie-ins are. That's not what tie-ins are supposed to be.
No.
And for someone that maybe is not reading Avengers, that is trying to pick up all the King of Black tie-ins because they like to have the full story of an event, they would have got this book and been like, it's not about whether it's good or bad. It's that it literally has nothing to do with the King of Black event. And I feel like we're borderline Marvel shills at this point. We just really enjoy Marvel books. And I feel like sometimes we defend them, and I just want to make it known that I'm really irritated at Marvel for putting a header on this book because it was deceiving, and you shouldn't be doing that to your readers.
Another deception or deceiving thing about this cover is, why the fuck is Namor on this book? He wasn't in the book. Namor is literally in the front of that cover, and he's not in the book.
No.
I finished it, and then we were getting ready for the show, and I was like, wait a minute. That's not a vampire. That's freaking Namor. It's just they're we just gotta put this dude in, just put him there. Just do it that, and it's maybe there's some kind of contract fulfillment. Namor has to be on X amount of covers, and they can't be variants, and there we go. Anyway, either way, I really enjoyed it, and I don't think this is the last issue of Avengers we get until July because we have the Heroes Reborn thing, so we'll see what happens. We finally get a really good issue, and now we're not going to get it for 3 months or 2 months. We'll just have to wait and see. But overall, I enjoyed it, and actually, all the other thing is I felt really bad for Thing Boy or Man Thing Boy,
Thing,
because
Man Thing Boy, Boy
I think
Thing.
it's Man. I thought it was Man Thing Boy.
No, It's just Boy Thing.
He looked like a sad puppy when basically
Blade had to leave.
Blade left. He basically quit, and then they gave him a new position. So anyway, good issue. Kudos, Jason Aaron. It felt like you were back in form. I really hope that we don't feel so disconnected, even though we've got an event in the middle of your run, to the next issue. So
yeah,
we'll have to wait and see how that goes. So next up, we got Captain Marvel 28. The kicking off of the Sorceress Supreme arc.
I don't think you have a button for this, by the way, but this is my cover of the week.
Cover of the week.
Do you know who this is, by the way?
No.
I looked at it and I was like, why is this so familiar? Why is this so badass? And then I saw the wispy hair and I was like, that's Marco Cicchetto. That's the Elektra hair right there.
Gotcha. Well, this continues Carol Danvers' kind of affair with Doctor Strange.
Did you see that they titled this the first issue of an arc?
I don't know if it is or not, but it's
no. That literally it says part 1 of 3 right in the beginning.
Well, there you go.
But that's dumb because the last issue should have been part 1.
Yeah, you're right. But this has more of this has more of the consequence and action in it. Essentially, what we have here is Captain Marvel. Carol is trying to figure out a way to defeat Avi, and she knows she can't do it, or she believes that she can't do it with her strength alone. She feels like she needs more assets to defeat Avi, and that is learning magic. And throughout this entire issue, whether it's Doctor Strange, Magic, Scarlet Witch, Dr. Voodoo,
there's a bunch of them.
A ton of
There's
magic users.
A couple of people I didn't even recognize.
I don't remember. Anyway, there's a bunch of magic users that are telling her, like, no, you can't learn magic. Like, that's a bad idea. Like, and they don't say it's too complicated. It's just Carol Danvers is too damn powerful. She can't. It's just not a good idea. You know, it's like hey, let's put an atomic warhead on an atomic bomb.
Well, Doctor Strange says at one point, he says, you're so powerful, it's good for you to have some weaknesses.
Right. So this book essentially has her trying to figure out a way to learn magic, because in her mind that's the only way she'll be able to defeat Avi and save the future that she saw. Well, the problem with that is no matter what you do, that future probably isn't going to happen, or you won't experience it, because even Doctor Strange says it. He says something like you'll never experience that future because it's technically like a multiverse future, right? And so whatever you do here, it won't matter. Like, it almost felt like he was going to say that will exist somehow, right? But it just won't be for you. And I feel like she straight up ignores that. She's just like, I don't care. Like, I have it in my mind that I'm going to make that future a reality, and I'm going to save the day for them because I fucked up so bad in the future, which she really didn't. Anyway, that's this book in a nutshell. Like, it's trying to. Everyone's telling her don't do it, and she's gonna do it. She's gonna end up fucking it up again. But as frustrating that is, I enjoyed the issue. And what ends up happening is everyone denies her to learn magic, so she goes to the one person who's actually the mother of Avi, and that's the Enchantress. And she goes, "All right, let's make a deal." And Enchantress is like, "The fuck are you doing on my doorstep?" But that's this issue in a nutshell. She is no doubt going to mess up again.
Yeah, I honestly really enjoyed this issue. Like, it was, I liked the. There's literally no action in this book. I don't think a single punch is thrown in the entire issue.
Well, there's a premonition of action.
You're right. There is a premonition of action. That's right. But it's. I really enjoyed the dialogue between Strange and Carol. I think that this weird relationship sort of thing that's going on between them, I think it's interesting. But I also I don't know why. One of the worst decisions I made when we first started getting into comics within the first few months was you decided around like issue 15 or 12 or something that you were going to pick up Captain Marvel, and I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think I've probably picked up since then half of the issues because they either tie in to something else that's going on or they just seemed so damn interesting. And so now I've got all these spattering of random issues that I've loved every single one of them. And so I'm officially gonna have to add this to my pool.
Yeah.
Starting today. Kelly Thompson does just such a good job, I think, with Captain Marvel, with at least with the way that I view Carol Danvers as a character.
There's a lot. It's a good mix of like action and character development, and I like that because I don't know much about Captain Marvel or Carol Danvers in that aspect of it, and I want to, because I know that there are a lot of Marvel fans out there that don't really care for Carol Danvers, and I just want to, I think Thompson's probably the best writer to maybe change some people's minds. Yeah. I will say when I did jump in, I'm surprised you didn't jump in because that's when she was corrupted by the Supreme Intelligence, or what is it called? Central Intelligence?
No.
What's the Kree Intelligence?
Oh, Supremor, yeah.
Yeah, so
the Supreme Intelligence.
Supreme Intelligence and Vox from Donny Cates' Kill Inhuman Death of the Inhumans had merged. And so they had corrupted Carol and gave her a new suit, and she had to basically kill all the Avengers. It was so cool. And that's where I jumped on because I thought that was like, ooh, that's fucking cool. But yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad you're jumping on because, like, I think, I never read Thompson's Deadpool. I wish I had, and now it's over. But I'm glad that she still has this and that she's picking up. I think she has a couple other books.
She's doing Black Widow right now too.
There you go. But either way, I like it. Jaden says I don't like that she has magic. I don't think it's gonna fit. No, she doesn't have magic yet, and I don't think she will get magic. And if she does, she's gonna fuck up really bad. So don't worry, Jaden. I don't think what happens on this cover is actually going to come to fruition, and if it does, it's going to fail epically.
I mean, while we have a lot of predictions, so maybe it's going to be a little bit of a simple storyline, but it really seems like the moral of this 3-issue arc is going to be you can't change your future, like just sort of like live your life kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because it seems like she's going to try to learn magic. She's going to fuck something up. Strange is going to have to come and do the arms of Satarak or whatever and fix it all up again and just be like, okay, so you're never using magic again.
I'm wiping your memory of magic. Ah,
right.
Yeah. And that we dated. Ah.
Maybe that
Probably.
too.
So that's Captain Marvel 28. I highly recommend it if you're even in the slightest curious about Captain Marvel. It's a really good read.
Yes.
All right, let's get into another Jason Aaron book, The Might of the Valkyries #1.
So I read this book.
Lots going on in this book. No, I'm just saying a lot's going on in this book.
Please start, because even though this is supposed to be my book, I read this book at the absolute height of my delirium.
This was a bad week for you when it comes to reading.
Yes, it was. So just pick me up as I go. But
okay.
So there's 2 actual stories in this book. We get a story that follows Jane Foster, and we get a story that follows our unnamed Valkyrie from the King in Black tie-ins.
Correct.
And the one thing that I really liked about this issue is I enjoy so much what Jason Aaron has done with how developed Jane Foster feels as a character now, or just as a person. We start out with this little snippet of her back in her job, like, things are back to normal again. She's having a conversation with an old woman who doesn't have anyone there to take care of her. She's on her last few days or whatever. She runs into Doctor Strange in the hospital, and they have like a little quick conversation. And then she goes back to the morgue where she works. And I actually completely forgot that the morgue guy knew what she did, as
like what she is,
that she was Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Because that hasn't been talked about since her first Valkyrie title.
Well, they talked about it in Donny Cates' Thor most recently, when all the Thors were getting fucking hacked. I'm just saying.
That's true. Yeah, I literally forgot about that.
Well, that's what jumped out at me when he popped up and he said that. I was like, oh wait, yeah, he does know that because he was like he was embalming or whatever past Thor's.
Yeah. But Strange basically says, hey, like, have you heard about any what does he say? Like beasts roaming around the city? And she's like, nope. No, I don't know about any beasts. And so she asks the mortician guy not mortician, but the guy that works in the morgue, like, right, that's not a mortician. What?
I think it is mortician.
Don't
worry about it. Just keep going.
Okay,
Doctor
sorry.
that dissects dead bodies. There you go.
Yes, that guy, and he was like, she asked him, have you had any people in here that have looked like they've been torn apart by beasts? And he's like, no, but sounds like you got Valkyrie shit to go do. And she ends up going to a bar where she's hanging out for a little bit, and then this guy starts chatting her up, and they're kind of playing this like back and forth game until she's like, hey, let's get out of here. And he's like, yeah,
back
sure.
to my place.
And they go, and she's like, all right, Loki, cut the shit. And I was like, oh yeah,
really?
Like, really?
You were surprised?
I was not expecting that at all. Yeah.
The minute that guy showed up and they like showed him smiling, I was like, this is fucking Loki. Like, this is Loki. Anyway, go.
And so she like busts straight into Valkyrie form, like as soon as they get in the alleyway, and like holds him up against the wall. Is like, yo, what the fuck? And he's like, no, like don't worry, like it's not. I need your help. Like I need your help with something. Mm-hmm. Now this is where I'm getting really confused. This is one of his children?
No, it's his grandchild. So
what?
I'll break it down.
Okay.
So, and I think I mentioned this in Donny Cates's run too. So in not Asgardian, but like Norse mythology, Loki has two children, and one is a giant wolf and the other is a serpent.
Yeah. And
so the giant wolf is the son of Loki, actually does the bidding of Hela or Hel or whatever her name is. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is it Hela? Anyway.
Hela. Yeah.
So I guess somewhere in there, the son, Loki's son, had a child, and this child is the new wolf that is hunting down people, and more specifically Loki.
Mm-hmm.
But it supposedly, so the way it's described in the book is it's not just one person, it's got two minds, it's two people, it's these twins who are in the same body.
Was it twins or was it triplets?
I thought the triplets were. That's another thing that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh my God.
No, I don't think it's the triplets.
This book messed me up when I read it. I literally read it and was like, okay, we'll read it again.
So the wolf they're twins, but they're in the same body. Okay. But anyway, they're out to get Loki, and I don't think it's explained why. Is it? No, they're hunting Loki. And so Loki's trying to get Valkyrie to save him.
Does one need a reason to hunt Loki?
You're right. And so when that's explained to her, it shows up, it starts fighting, it almost takes Loki out, and then she's able to deflect it, and he escapes, he disappears in the night. And then it reveals itself, it transforms into like an actual humanoid, and tells her why, like not why, but that, I'm here, deal with it.
Yeah.
But then the other thing in this book that was weird is we get the book opens up with these triplets that are born on Earth, then are stolen. I think it's weird. It was a fun read, but it is all over the place, and I'm not sure. I feel like Jason Aaron's pulling a Quentin Tarantino movie where we like start in the middle and the end, and then we get the beginning, and then we're gonna like kind of jump around.
I'm sorry.
Did I say his name wrong?
Yeah, but I love it. I love that. That's a perfect combination of his name, Quentin Tarantino.
What's his name again?
Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino. Anyway,
no, I'm calling him Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino. I feel like that's what Jason Aaron's doing in this first story, because like these triplets like jump from an Earth mom to this chick with the big hair, and apparently she's the wife of Hela, and Hela wants to find the babies. That's a whole nother story that's in this first story.
That's from War of the Realms.
Okay.
BTW.
Well, I was extremely confused when we got to that part. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I can't remember which realm it is, but the lady with the big hair is the queen of a particular realm. She dies during the War of the Realms, and her husband is, I think, Baldur, however you say, Baldur the Brave, and he's the guy that's been in charge of Hell for a while, and so she runs Hell with him for a while, and then Hela comes and takes it back over, and is going to do something bad with the big-haired lady, and she's like, nope, you somehow, like, I'm your wife, because I'm married to the person that's in charge of Hell, no matter what.
Okay.
And so if you're coming back to claim Hell, then I'm your wife now. And they're like, okay. It was very strange.
Well, there's that storyline too. So that's Jason Aaron's story in Mighty Valkyries. And then we get another story about our unnamed Valkyrie, who essentially in that book is looking for an oracle to remember her name. And there was something else. She asked the Oracle like 2 things, and you're only supposed to ask the Oracle 1 thing.
Right. So yeah, this part of the issue is actually quite cosmic. I wasn't expecting her to like go to like an alien planet. But she goes to an alien planet where there's an Oracle. And you're only supposed to ask 1 question. But she gets up there and she says, "Tell me, what is my name and why am I here?" And then everyone gasps like, "You're only allowed 1 question," and like get the guards. But apparently the Oracle's just like forced to answer whatever you ask, no matter what. And the Oracle says, "You are here because you made a promise to a woman that you loved." Which, I mean, I would assume that was her wife, right?
The one that was projected in the Celestial's body in the void. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a sentence right there.
Yes. And then the Oracle says, basically like, you're here to honor the covenant of the Valkyries that you once made. Your name is known to no living being. It has been lost in time and death. Damn. And then he names her Runa. Her name is Runa. Is that
End scene.
Yeah. Runa. And I mean, that's basically it. Looks like she's about to fight, but then it ends.
I got like current DC comic vibes with this book. Like, here's our main story and here's a side story. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just we got 2 different things going on. We got 2 different artists going on. So it felt like here, this is why we're making this an oversized issue. We're putting 2 stories in it.
It seems like there was like, well, and this is unfortunately, like we've said many times, this is just a mini series, 5 issues, but it seems like Aaron was able to convince them to let him tie up a little bit of loose threads with these 2 characters, with Jane Foster and with Runa. And it's just kind of all getting shoved into a book.
I will say the main artist on Aaron's story was phenomenal.
It was hyper realistic.
Almost feel like he could put Phil Noto for a run. Give him a run. I'm just saying.
I don't know about all that.
Hot take.
Noto's not as realistic,
right? And that's why I was so impressed. I was like, this is legit.
Yes.
Anyway, I enjoyed it, and I'm ready for more, but I'm super confused.
Okay. You start Carnage real quick. I have to use the restroom.
Okay, Carnage number 2. We've got Carnage number 2. We've got Donny Cates, Chip Zdarsky, and Ramvi on the stories, and then we have Holtz, Chichetto, and Fernandez on the artwork. This was insane. I told Nate we're gonna wait for him to get back because I don't want to say anything until he gets here. But if you'd watched our comic book haul video, I told him he's gonna, regret not picking this issue up because 1, you've got 3 fantastic writers and you have 3 fantastic artists on this book. It was insane, man. What I will say about this book is it didn't feel like we had a lot of stories that were grounded in classic Venom stories, outside of maybe Donny Cates's King in Black, which isn't a classic Marvel story. That's something that's actually pretty recent, obviously. But in the first issue, I think Teenie Howard's story was like embedded in a classic Venom story. So if you didn't have extensive knowledge of Carnage, you were a little lost in that story. And then the other two stories, I think, were a little bit more single story centric. And that's what we get in this issue. Didn't he say he's sick of... Yeah, so Jaden, you're right. Nate is sick of symbiotes, but he actually... I'll just spoil it now. He actually liked this issue. I don't know what Nate's doing. I don't know if he went number 1. I think he went number 1, not number 2, but...
Number 1.
Anyway... Yeah, Nate.
Why are we talking about my bathroom?
Well, Maddie. Maddie's going to just ask about personal shit.
Yeah.
What I was about to say was Nate actually liked this book.
So yes. How far did you get?
I basically wanted to wait until you got back to actually break down the book. I was just giving like a brief synopsis before the book. So Kate's story literally deals with somewhat of the aftermath of was it Venom Island? Yeah, Venom Island and King in Black. So in Venom Island, Carnage was laying waste to Eddie Brock, and then he actually killed him, or so we thought, but the Carnage symbiote was able to escape and attach itself to a fucking great white shark. So we get a Carnage shark in this book, and then it was able to, escape and then resurface right after King in Black ended. So it tries to take over a dude's body, and Venom, aka Eddie, shows up and rains symbiote goo down upon him and basically tells Carnage, you're no longer in charge. You will never be in charge. You will never be a threat. I am the King in Black. You are my vessel, and I will tell you what to do. And so he ends up, I don't think he ends up killing Carnage, but he puts him in his place. Because I don't think anybody really can kill Carnage. So that's the Donny Cates story. It was fantastic in the art, but the story that shines in this issue... Well,
really quick, I also want to say that the artist for the Donny Cates book was Kyle, I don't know if it's Hotz or Hotz, H-O-T-Z. He's a guy that's been doing a ton of exclusive covers for Venom lately. Like, if you've been looking at modern comics lately, like you'll recognize his style right away. And even though this isn't a full book, seeing his art, like multi-pages, like not just a cover, like seeing his action sequences and stuff, is really badass.
So the middle story is Chip Zdarsky and Chichetto, and holy shit. I don't even want to spoil it. No. You need to go read it. If you're a fan of Chip Zdarsky and obviously Chichetto, do yourself a favor and pick up this book. It was
this is a horror story, like
big time.
Yeah, like it had a really good horror element to it. And I saw that Jaden said that I was sick of symbiotes. Absolutely true. I just forced myself because of all of the names that were attached to this book, and I'm so glad I did. All 3 stories were good, but I'm so glad I did because of this story, because I really think it solidifies that Zdarsky and Chichetto are my favorite duo making comics right now. They blend together so well. There are so many times that I feel like they are able to show and say so much with so little because they work together so well.
Yeah. They complete each other's
sentences.
There you go. And then Ram V's story was good. It just wasn't as strong as the first 2. But it was illustrated really well, and this issue was fun. This is what I thought Carnage Black, White, and Blood was going to be. I know they're going to sprinkle in classic Carnage stories and give a little bit more backstory to it. But this issue, I feel like they could have started with this issue first to hook just regular old non enthusiastic symbiote Carnage readers. They could have totally done that with this.
Well, and see, after reading Black, White, and Blood, Wolverine, I really enjoyed it, but I read this and said, if you don't have a pretty good grasp of Wolverine continuity, a lot of this is going to get lost on you. And I literally have not read a single comic with Carnage in it. Like, when I was reading Donny Cates's Venom run to get caught up, I skipped Ultimate Carnage because I was just Absolute Carnage. And because I don't have time, I got to get through this. And so I was just like, if it's anything the same, I'm gonna miss enough, and I don't care about symbiotes anyway, that it's just not gonna do it. So that's why I didn't read issue 1. And issue 2, this one, you're right, they should have started with this one. And the reason why I loved it so much is because besides the Donny Cates issue, or the story, which is basically like a King in Black epilogue, the other 2 issues, you could literally sub Carnage for any scary character that you've ever encountered. Like, literally, you could put Freddy Krueger in instead of Carnage, and the storytelling would have been just as effective and just as scary. So that's why this issue was so good.
Overall, if you're just looking for a couple of good short stories and you don't have an extensive knowledge of Carnage, go pick this book up. It's really good, and if you can get your hands on the Peach Momoko 1 in 25, do it, because that thing is sick and it is burning up the market right now. So that is Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, number 2. Yeah, well, go watch our haul video. I put it up on the screen.
Yeah, see, I can't see the screen during those videos. So.
No, the actual video on YouTube, dude.
No, I know what you're saying.
All right. Next up, we have Eternals number 4, and now I'm gonna go take a number 1 break.
Oh my god!
You got it. You could do it.
Okay, so what happened in this book? I don't know. Some things happened. There was some Thanos and there was some punching. So, people keep dying in the Eternals, and we're still not sure exactly what's going on. Thanos showed up in issue 2 and then promptly disappeared. And in this issue, we get a lot of back and forth, We get a little bit of a glimpse of what's his name, Icarus, watching in on the little boy. That we still just have no idea what's going on there. Like, why is he watching in on this kid? But for the most part, we get a little bit of a backstory on... I don't know any of these Eternals' names. Anyway, the guy that they're super suspicious about. And you can tell how little I understood this book by how much I'm struggling. I read this thing twice. Well, I read it once, and then the second time I kind of like glazed through it and read a few passages. But like, I feel like this Kieran Gillen run of Eternals, or at least our expectation of it, was that the new movie's coming out. This isn't a super popular Marvel Marvel setting with multiple characters. Let's start a new series and let's kind of get people familiar with what's going on so that they're not totally lost when they jump into the movie. And unfortunately for myself as a new reader, I don't know what's happening. Like, I really don't have any Eternal knowledge, and I'm missing it. Like, I'm missing a lot of it. One of the big reasons why I picked this book up in the first place is because Eternals generally have to deal with space and cosmic stuff. We haven't got that so far, which is kind of disappointing. And Asad Ribic is my favorite artist of all time. So getting to see him back on an actual book interiors has been really nice, and really the only thing that I look forward to in this book, because there are so many interactions with these characters that I just don't understand the implications. And Jaden says literally never touched the Eternal comic. I hadn't either until these. And there's so much in the backlog that it's going to be really hard for me to convince myself to go back and read 20 issues of Jack Kirby 70s. Like, not that they're not good in their own right, but like when Jack Kirby came back to Marvel after he was over at DC for a while and he did like Eternals and stuff, and he was writing and drawing, that stuff is, I mean, it's going to take you 45 minutes to get through a single issue. It's so wordy, it's so verbose, and the art is so intricate, you can't just kind of flip through it. I mean, you got to take a few minutes to
digest it for sure, yeah.
Everything that's going on. So we totally covered all of the details of this book and how interesting it was, how much I understood it. Do you want to add anything to it?
Thanos fighting, awesome. Want more.
There you go. I seriously, the only thing that we get is that whoever this character is that they started being suspicious of, we find out that, yep, we should be suspicious of him.
And he's also like known as a betrayer, essentially. Like that's why they automatically are like, it's you, and he's like, no, it's not. Oh, it's me.
So
you can't drop this book because of Assad Rivik.
Which I've said twice already, and I'll say it again.
There you go.
I can't drop this book because of Assad Rivik.
Technically, this is.
No. And also, I very blatantly made a statement that you missed earlier, but this was not my cover of the week. And this is Assad Rivik.
What was that again?
The Chichetto Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah. No, this is a good cover, but I can see why it's not.
But you're right. I won't stop picking this up because I am a Assad Rivik fiend. I literally will pick. I have like a dozen Conan issues that I found in the dollar bins at Half Price Books that I bought, and I'll never read them, but they are fantastically stunning Assad Rivik covers.
There you go. Well, that's all that matters.
But I also trust Kieran Gillen.
No, I think the story so far, outside of it being super dense, is still intriguing.
No, I'm not intrigued at all.
No, I am. I am because I like the interaction with the machine and how he'll like badmouth the reader and he'll just be like, yeah. I like that a lot. I just don't know enough about him, but I am very intrigued with the Thanos thing because like technically he's dead and I want to know why he's alive.
Is he? Is he ever really dead?
Yeah, right. So, whatever. Is that it?
That's it. There's Eternals.
Eternals number 4. All right, next up we have the Women of Marvel number 1. We picked up the Peach Momoko variant for this book. I love it. We get a lot of one-panel stories, a couple thicker stories in this book, and they're all delightful and very good. Mm-hmm. I'm going to probably be quick on this one, too, because I really want to get to my pick of the week. Anyway, but it's good. I think everyone should probably pick this issue up because there's a lot of good storytelling in this book. And then, like you said in our comic book haul video, we get, a group of books that are either written by a female or illustrated by a female, and they're worth picking up. And I think the best for me, there's a ton of great stories in this book. The two that I like the most, are the Rogue story.
Okay.
Where she is
the dinosaur skeleton.
Yeah, where Mystique is like trying to connect with her adopted daughter, and she's like, "Leave me alone." That was really cool. And then the other one that I liked a lot, it was the She-Hulk one. I really like that one because it was like a no-word one. And what I find funny about it, so she encounters Rhino, and Rhino's like, "You'll never catch me," and he starts like fighting her and running through a museum and like trying to steal shit. And at the end of it, he's like, "You know what? I'm done running. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to show you how strong I am." And he like rams into her stomach and like his horn breaks. She transforms back into Jennifer Walters and she's like, "I literally was here just to serve you papers for making counterfeit Avengers stuff. So yeah, you're served. Oh, and by the way, you're going to jail now because you broke all the shit in this in this museum." So like he literally could have walked away with just getting served papers, but he saw She-Hulk and he was like, nope, I'm going to fight.
Have you haven't been to New York, have you?
No, I have not.
So the one thing about that issue, or like that little story, was I was shocked at how well the artist presented the Natural History Museum.
Oh, really?
That room with like the big giant whale and stuff, like that's exactly what that room looks like.
Interesting.
Like I looked at that and was like, oh my god, I feel like I'm here, like inside here. I don't know. Whenever they put certain like real places, even if I've been there before, which is very unlikely, it just doesn't feel real. You know, it's a drawing. Yeah. But yeah, for some reason that panel is like, holy shit! Like I feel like I'm totally here. I think my favorite story, by the way, was the Agent Carter.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Behind enemy lines spy one. That was really cool.
I like that. It was a little bit of a what if there. I like that too.
Beating Nazis with a prosthetic leg is always a good story.
Yeah, for sure. But either way, that was, you know, there's a lot of stories in that, a lot of one pagers and a couple other like 2 or 3 pagers. I really liked it. I'm glad I picked it up, and I'm really glad I got the Peach Momoko cover. It was fun. I think I like these issues where we highlight essentially minorities, and they're really, they're pleasantly surprising, and they shouldn't be. They should be like, oh, this should be expected. This is good stuff. And I love the fact that Marvel's doing it. I know DC does it too. And I think we need more issues like that. Like we did this with the Black Lives Matter issue, and or Marvel Voices with Black Lives Matter, and like the
Indigenous voices as well.
Yeah, but what was the Def Jam? The Def Jam story in that one was so good.
Oh yeah, it was.
So like I really enjoy these. Did we do the Indigenous one? I know there was one. I don't remember picking it up.
I picked it up, but we didn't do it.
I need to pick that up. Either way, I think the next one we have is the Pride issue. So looking forward to that. I think I'm going to get the cover B on that one. That one looks really cool. I think they just announced that cover.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it.
We'll hit it on solicitations. But yeah, so that's Marvel, or Women of Marvel #1. Highly suggest you pick it up. It's really good. It's a really good issue. Matt says, can I start playing Peach Momoko Bingo with James or a drinking game? Sure, man. Yeah.
Every time you see a Peach Momoko cover, you have to take a shot.
There you go. I like that
not
game.
Not a sip of beer, a shot.
A shot.
Yes. So now we need to just have our Momokos sitting on the ground and just like, well, Momoko, Momoko.
All right, next up, we are done with our Marvel. We jump into our DC, which I think we have 3 of. And we're going to start it off with Justice League number 60. Written by Bendis.
I have the better cover of, by the way.
You do. I like that cover a lot. I'm a cover A guy, but I really like that cover.
I didn't have a choice because I forgot to add this to my poll.
Yes, you did. And so now
no more. I've got a page over here, and I've already added it.
Learned our lesson. Anyway, before we break this book down, I feel like kind of start at the synopsis, or not the synopsis, the critique of the book, or whatever you want to call it.
Go for it.
I feel like this Justice League book was made for readers like us, right? There are things in here, obviously, that we don't know nothing about and that they're referencing to. But overall, this story, I feel like, is made for the novice DC reader. And I know that's frustrating for some DC readers, for fans. And it's very inviting for people that want to jump in and just read a good story. And that's debatable of saying that some people don't think it's a good story. I think it's a good story. But when we were discussing this and you were like, well, who the hell is Black Adam? Why are they calling him Shazam? And we kind of went down that rabbit hole. The fact that you're even asking those questions, I think, is good, even if it may be frustrating. So, synopsis of the book: Adam confronts Naomi. He's basically wanting to figure her out, and realizing that these beings that invaded in the first issue were potentially from her world. So he's playing Batman now. He's trying to figure it out because these beings directly invaded his nation. And while he does this, Superman shows up and is like, hey, what are you doing? You're technically a villain. Why are you sneaking up on this girl? And Adam breaks it down and says, look, man, I just have the best interest in my country. I need to figure this out. And so Superman does what Superman does, comes up with an idea, and he proposes the idea that they need to bring Adam in to the Justice League. Now,
yes,
the previous issue, Arrow brought up the idea that they needed to diversify their team because it's getting a little stale. Like, they're all kind of in the same view, and they need to broaden their horizons a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of bringing in Adam, and now it looks like potentially Naomi, that's what's looking like in this book. So they're trying to figure out where these beings came from. They pinpoint to the fact that they may have come from Naomi's homeworld, which she's been there once for like 5 minutes. We don't, right. I mean, that's mentioned in this book. We have no idea. And so they come up with this idea to multiverse jump, not time jump universes to get to her home planet to figure this out. So Flash creates this machine that looks like a giant treadmill. In order to power it, he has to run, like he literally has to run it. And they travel to her universe, and when they get there, Naomi's the only one that's there, and the rest of the team has vanished.
Yep.
That's this issue in a nutshell. We also get what's her name? The Queen of the Amazons?
Hippolyta.
She's the connecting thread of figuring out that there may be some connection between these beings and Naomi's homeworld. And she actually leaves the island of Themyscira to fight the being. And I'm wondering if that's like a no-no, because when Wonder Woman left the island, it was like, if you leave, you never can come back. And so I'm wondering if she's stuck not on the island because of that. I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
I have no idea.
I'm grasping at straws at that one. But overall, I liked it.
Yeah, this issue was really good. I think for a new reader to Justice League, literally not like, I've never read a story in my entire life with the majority of these characters. I no idea who Black Adam is. I'm familiar with Aquaman, Black Canary, Green Arrow, but I've never read any stories with them. Like, I can recognize their faces, but that's about it.
Right.
But I'm really interested in Naomi as a character. She really seems like a DC analog for America Chavez. And I really want to read her first solo series because it's by the same artist that's doing Far Sector right now. And I love his art. It's so good. But she's really intriguing as a character to me. The art in this book is very good. I really enjoy it. So it's a very approachable book. If you are a newer DC reader like us, I would definitely say go back, pick up 59 and 60 and jump on, see where this is going.
For sure. So that is Justice League 60. Looking forward to the next issue. Next up, probably the hottest DC book this week. Nightwing 79. So, we get more of Tom Taylor writing Nightwing as somebody who has a very generous heart, yet knows how a city of dark works, right? That's what we get in this issue. We get him continuing his good faith and good nature as a person, growing up as an orphan and understanding that, and quite literally trying to feed his neighborhood. He gets approached by father son who kind of like, hey, you got any money? And he's like, no, but I can get you guys some food, I can get you guys some shelter, and I can figure this out. I'm going to help you. And in doing so, he actually opens it up to the entire neighborhood and starts feeding, all of the homeless and orphaned children in that neighborhood. And while he does this, that same father-son duo end up leaving. They're like, we gotta go get a couple things, and they go down an alley, and then they're approached by a not so cool guy, not such a good dude, and I don't think the guy that they encounter knows them. He's just looking for bums. He's looking for wanderers. And the dad tells the son, go back to the pizza shop where Everyone's hanging out. I'll take care of this. Everything's going to be okay. And our bad guy here is like, nope, it's not going to be okay. And he's got this gun, and he shoots. It extends out like an arm, whoop, right into the dude's chest, and sucks the dude's heart out. Kills the guy. Yeah. So there's that in this book, just a straight up drop there. And then we cut to, we're back where, what's his name again? I don't want to say his name wrong. Who's Nightwing?
Dick Grayson.
So Grayson is at this, feeding everybody, and he realizes that some of the kids that were there stole his wallet. So he's got to figure it out. He's like, I want to get my wallet back. Not in a bad way, not in like a malicious way. Mm-hmm. And so he, him and Oracle track it, and they realize that they're stealing a bunch of people's wallets within the neighborhood, and they actually steal a wallet from a very well-known, prominent gangster mob family guy. And so he's got to figure out how to not let them do that, or they're going to end up dead. And so they do it. He ensues. He beats up the guys, tells them don't do that. He follows the kids back to like a homeless camp, and what he realizes is that it's a bunch of homeless children with no parents. So we're kind of making a connection here that whoever we met in the alleyway might be killing these kids' parents to steal their hearts. That's what it's looking like in this book.
Yeah.
But we get really good character development in this book. We get more of Grayson growing up, and I don't think you can say, I mean, your definition of doing the right thing can mean anything to anybody, but it just seems like he's currently on the right path of using the money that he got from
Alfred
in the wisest way possible. And so in this book, we just get more of a generous heart, and we get technically a cameo appearance of a new villain who I believe his name is Heartless, and he's actually on the cover. I didn't even realize it. The name Heartless. Yeah, it says "Who is Heartless" on the cover. I did not notice that. Which is kind of cool. Anyway, that's this book in a nutshell. We're getting new, Taylor's doing the Tinian thing and dropping new characters. So each one of these books are very important for collectors if you want to, have the first appearance and the cameo. But overall, the story in general for Tom Taylor is really good. Was very reluctant to pick up 78, and you were like, bro, you need to go pick up 78. And I was like, I guess. And now I'm like so glad that I'm reading Nightwing, because this is kind of one of the more hopeful Batman titles currently being written at DC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What did you think?
I enjoyed it. The art in this book is also really good. I would say that these DC books in general, like, I don't know why, but I had a little bit of a bias where I just was expecting some lower tier art, and we've got some really good guys, like really good people doing good art over here. I really enjoyed the character development in this book. I like that. I like good guy Grayson. It's I also really loved the tribute that they did in the beginning of the issue, where it was like it was essentially him jumping down from a building, and as he was falling, it was him in each one of his suits that he's worn. Like a Robin suit, and like his Teen Titans Nightwing suit, and then his '90s era suit, and then his current suit. And so, I thought that was really good.
No, I enjoyed it. I think the attention to detail for this book, and again, it's really funny for us to say, like, oh man, the attention to detail for the story, and like just getting Grayson done right, like we know nothing about these characters, but it just, you read it and you're like, oh yeah, that totally fits. And I think that you need to give Taylor credit for that. Jane says, I thought it was really funny that they have, oh thank you, Jaden, for reminding us. So there is a group chat amongst the Bat family that they kind of keep tabs on, and they've been making fun of Grayson on the Bat chat, on the group chat, the family chat on Grayson. I thought, that's a really nice thing in the book that I like too. I can't believe I'm glad you're here, Jaden. I'm glad you gave us that reminder, because I totally forgot about that. And that's one of the best parts of the book. Damn. either way, that's Nightwing 79. Cannot wait for the next issue. I think the next issue literally shows Nightwing with a hole in his chest, like no heart. So it's about to get crazy. So that's Nightwing 79.
Have anything to say about this book before we move on?
No, it's not my pick of the week.
You lied to me.
No, I told you. I told you at work I changed it. You've had a rough week. I told you I changed it. Look, listen. This was my pick of the week until I read Our Independence. That's all I'll say.
All right, well, let's move on then.
Flash 769. I liked this issue, but it wasn't anything insane.
Yeah, there's not a lot super crazy going on in this book. So we've got Wally West being, shunted back into the Speed Force, and basically the Speed Force, like they said in the first issue, there's something wrong with it, and it's using Wally to fix the issue.
So it's bad things.
Help. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's like I think at one point Barry makes the analogy that it's like the hole in a gas line, and he's got to go plug it up or something. Something like that. So he ends up way in the future in Impulse's body, like we saw in the previous issue. And then Golden Beetle is there. I'm not familiar with her as a character in the least little bit. And when she finds out it's Wally, she starts getting all yeah, oh my gosh, like, oh, it's Wally, like, we all love you so much, blah, blah, blah. But basically, I mean, it's maybe we missed something by not being super, into DC yet, and maybe there's some Easter eggs or hidden things, but basically it's just him being in the future and stopping another problem in the Speed Force. We get a little bit of a side story with the guys back in our normal time. It's Barry Allen, Green Arrow, and I cannot remember the third guy's name.
Mr. Terrific.
It's okay, Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
And at basically they say, oh, well, Barry and Wally have created this the statue where they can hide things, and it's got like a future time displacement. So if they ever get lost in time, they know they can go to this Flash museum, and inside the statue will be something that's hidden. And so like they have to go to the Flash museum in the present, and they make fun of Barry while they're there, which I thought was pretty amusing. And then back in the future timeline with Wally, they have to break into this Flash museum so that they can get whatever device that Barry put in there for Wally. And then they fight the bad guy that's overcome by the Speed Force, and Wally takes all the Speed Force out of him, and then he gets shunted off to the next zone, which I'm very excited about. I'm really intrigued. Basically, he goes back, and it looks like he is probably going to take over the body of the Golden Age Flash, and we get a glimpse of him looking into a room, and it's Hitler, and he's got the Spear of Destiny.
Spear of Destiny.
And so I'm very interested to see where we're going next here.
I think we're going to be in there for at least like 2 books, I think.
Really? Yeah. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit. So this fun, like, oh, we're time traveling and we're seeing different points in speedsters' lives, and that's cool. But like, what's the point of all this? And so I'm really hoping in this next issue we get a little bit more of an expansion of like what's going on with the Speed Force. Why is this happening? Like, what's the whole deal? And in between issues, last issue and this issue, I've done a lot of like podcast listening on Flash characters, Wally West and Barry Allen, and I'm really interested to see who's going to end up as the titular character for this book, or if they're going to continue to have both of them involved. I didn't realize how strong of a dichotomy there was of people being upset about one person being the Flash versus the other. Because technically, like right now, they're both the Flash, and they just, are heroes and they do their own thing. One's on the Justice League sometimes, and one's doing his own thing. But like, people are still pissed off to this day about Barry Allen being back after being dead for so many years. I didn't even know he was. Apparently, he was dead for like almost 30 years. I didn't know that. I didn't. No. He dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then he doesn't come back, I don't think, until some other event, Final Crisis or something like that. Anyway, people are like, Wally West should be the only person that is the headliner of a Flash book. So, but we start out the previous issue, which is the new writer, new everything, new starting point, with Wally saying, "I'm hanging it up. I'm done." And so I'm curious, after this story arc, if we're going to see Wally go away for a while and it's just going to be a Barry Allen book, or if this experience is going to keep Wally on the book and it's a Wally book, or if it's a both book.
I'll have to wait and see.
Yes, and I'm kind of interested.
Oh, for sure. I'm
let's get there is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, for sure. We'll get there. All right. That is the end of our DC books. We only had 3 this week. On to our independents. We got 4, and we're starting off with a Boom book. Remind me how to say this again, because I don't want to butcher it.
Lila Star
number 1 from Ram V.
Now I remember you telling me about your new pick of the week. Sorry, my bad. I remember you now.
Right, this one was really close, but this isn't my pick of the week. This book is freaking awesome, though. We picked this one up later in the week. Robbie over at Pop Culture, How do you say it?
Pop Culture Philosophers.
I wanted to rearrange it. This was his pick of the week, and I was like, well, you know what? I really do trust his reviews. I trust his opinion. So I was like, dude, we missed a book. We got to go get it. So we went and picked up this book. Pleasantly surprised.
Number 1. How did we miss that?
I know. Like we always hold
rule.
Yeah, that's our standard. Is like you always pick up a Boom number 1, even if you don't care about it. So we picked this one up, and I was pleasantly surprised. Basically what we have in this book is Death is fired. The being of Death is fired. She is no longer employed to kill people, and it's because someone on Earth that is being born at that very moment will be the future to immortality for humans. So there's no longer a need for death, and so she is fired. And that's really the main crux of this book. The artwork in it is fantastic. The writing I thought was great. The back and forth of characters, the humor in this book was great. And our character, there is a journey that Death is now going on in this book where she is reincarnated, but not really, but kind of. I don't want to give away too much because I think everybody that's watching right now definitely should give this book a try. It's really good. And Death is, she has some choices that she needs to make in her new mortality in this book.
We'll see. I guess I won't give too much away either. I was about to just give the whole kit and caboodle, but
I want to, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to be surprised.
So I will say that there, it seems like there are going to be 3, or 2 or 3 little storylines that we're following, or like place settings. We've got a character that is first born in this issue, like a newborn baby, that we're going to be. It seems like we're going to be following that individual's journey for a little bit. Death herself and her experience being put into a mortal body, and the sort of mortal life that she's going to live, and then also the interaction with gods as well. But yeah, I loved this story. I thought it was really interesting, and the art was phenomenal. But my absolute favorite part, and people are gonna, I'm sure someone's gonna watch this video and be like, damn SJWs, blah blah blah. I love the representation in this book. I love that we have a book that is taking place in India, and that the representation of the gods that we get in here are Hindu gods. Like, we've seen Death portrayed 1,000 times in comic books and in movies and in TV shows, and I've never seen death portrayed in the way that she is here. Now, I couldn't tell you if it's an accurate representation because I'm very unfamiliar with the Hindu religion, but man, it was, to me, it was a breath of fresh air. I just thought it was so interesting and like refreshing to get a new take on classic stories that all cultures have. So I am super excited about this. Also, there's a badass foil cover for this article that we didn't pick up. But so I basically said, I was like, all right, I'm going to pick this one up because I almost picked them both up because they were both such good covers. I was like, the only way I can go pick up the second print, or not second print, but the B cover is if it's a badass comic, like if it's really good. And it is. So
you gonna pick it up?
I think I have to go pick it up.
There you go. So that is Lila Starr #1. Can't give it any more of a bigger endorsement than you just need to go get it. It's a boom #1. Pick it up anyway. But this is a fantastic comic. Ram V is fucking killing it. And then the artwork is great too. The coloring in the book is great. It's overall, like you said it perfectly. It's a breath of fresh air.
Yep.
So next up we have ULTRAMEGA #2 by James Herron. This is my pick of the week.
Yes, James.
Pick of the week.
Pick of the week. Yeah. Yeah. Not a surprise.
No.
Not a surprise at all. If you like fast-paced action, cosmic, anime, kaijus.
No, don't say that.
What?
I hate kaijus and I love this book.
Well, I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is that you don't need to like kaijus.
No, I'm just saying there's a broad paintbrush being painted with this book. So if you're into any of those things, this will appeal to you.
Yes.
It's fucking wacky. It's humorous. It's gross. It's so good. So in our last issue, our main character died and ended up killing an entire city with his blood. Go read issue 1. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
The drowned city.
Yeah, you need to go read it to figure out what that means. And so what we get in this book is the aftermath. We've got people that Jaden says, "Oh yeah, I'll be definitely picking those up." Yeah, definitely do it. I think second print's on its way. If not, it's already here for #1. Overall, this book is just it checks all the boxes. And so what we get is the aftermath of that fight. I think it's like 10 to 20 years at. No, it's definitely it's either like 10, 15 years after that. And supposedly we're following the son of the main character. He is pseudo picked up the mantle of ULTRAMEGA without becoming ULTRAMEGA. He's fighting in the name of ULTRAMEGA. He's fighting all these people that have been corrupted by the kaiju virus, who haven't technically become giant monsters. They've kind of figured out a way to be like normal sized.
Yeah, they're almost like these, like to me, they reminded me of like these miniature Jabba the Hutts.
Yeah. And they leech off of people and it's gross.
Yeah, they're giant. Like literally, there's one scene where one of them is like leeching off of a guy's back, and like it almost felt pornographic. Like it was just really disgusting.
Really gross.
Like, it was because like after he's done, he like all like lounges back on a couch and has his hands on his fat belly and like his tongue's all sticking out. Like it was just gross.
Basically, it looked like how we feel after we go eat at that new Nashville hot chicken place. Anyway, I don't want to give away too much here either, but this book it just dives deeper into the universe of ULTRAMEGA, the aftermath of issue 1, gets in real deep. It builds a false sense of security with some characters that our new main character has with some people, where he once had friendships and then they ultimately become betrayed. But overall, this book feels like a Trigger anime. If anyone's ever seen a Trigger anime, Kill la Kill, I can't remember some of the other ones that they've done, but it's just that pace. The artwork is fantastic. The coloring in this is fantastic, and we get a massive cliffhanger. So we don't necessarily, in the first issue at the end, ULTRAMEGA takes the eyeball that he had infused in him out of his chest and he shoves it into the ground in the first issue. And in this issue, we find out that it's like a being that has awareness. and is basically trying to find the next Ultramega. And we also get in this book, I'll kind of spoil the front of it, a retelling of history, right? Like, there always will be an Ultramega. There will always be this fight. It's a continuous battle. And the conception of the universe kind of revolves around this conflict, which is kind of cool. But at the end of this book, we get a betrayal that I didn't see coming. I was like, damn, that's rough.
Sudden.
Very sudden, like 2 panels sudden. And our main character gets captured. I'll say that. And, I'm very interested to see where it'll go. It may not. It may go in a completely different direction. I think that's why I like this book so much. It's not predictable. You think it is. You think it would be predictable, but then you've got these betrayals and character developments in this book that you're like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. And I think that's why it's,
This cheers.
my pick of the week. But it's just it just checks all the boxes. It reads well. It's building this just immense world, pun intended. And it makes me want to know more about the characters. And it makes me care about the characters. Like this betrayal that happens in this book, I was like, oh yeah, this is the guy. This is the mentor. Nope. Immediate backstab, and I was like, holy shit. And again, Heron is just killing it with this. And I don't think he's, or is he doing the artwork on this too? I think he is.
Yeah, he's writing and doing the art. And
so Stewart's doing the coloring.
Colors, yeah.
Stewart's killing it too. Overall, I cannot emphasize enough. If you are not reading this, and you obviously it's for mature readers, it's not for your kids. Go pick it up. Go get it right now. It is so fucking good, and I'm gonna be very sad when it ends. I think we have.
Sorry,
no, go for it.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, keep in mind too that this is another giant size issue, like an 80-page. Like these are basically like almost the same amount of pages as Marvel's trades whenever they come out, like 80+ pages. Like it's a big book.
Yeah, and I like that though. Like it makes when I get it, I'm like, yeah, this is comic book. Yeah, like.
I love that. Honestly, I think that's a really good way to do a story. Like I wish that people could put out that much material per month on a regular basis.
Yeah, this is when this. I'm already saying it now, and I have the next 2 books haven't even come out yet, but I will be buying the hardcover Treasury, whatever the fuck it is. I'm picking it up. Like this is so good. I'll probably get all 4 issues slabbed. We'll see. Anyway, that's Ultramega number 2. I know I didn't give a lot away because I want you to go out and read it. I want you to go to your LCS. I want you to buy this. I want you to buy second prints. I want you to buy variant covers because I want James Heron and Dave Stewart to know and Image to know that we support their book. So
there you go.
Just go do it. One more time.
This cheers. Pick of the week.
I had to do it. All right, next up. Radiant Black, number 3 from Kyle Higgins. This is, I think you said it too, this is the strongest issue out of the first 3.
Yeah, I was really close to, I said I was going to do the first 5 issues, 5 or 6, whatever the first arc is, and I was like, after issue 2, I was like, I don't know if I can hold to that. And then this issue kind of got me back on track. So the thing that I didn't like about the first 2 issues was the promise that it felt like we were getting of like really seeing this character as a writer. I am not a writer by any means, but I've always been really intrigued by stories about writers.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we just hadn't seen this guy write, like I understand that like his writer's block is part of the story, but like it just didn't seem like it seemed like that was just going to get sort of played off pretty quickly. And now we see it's not, because literally the second and third pages are full on like text, like from a novel,
right?
Something that he has written. And this issue really doesn't have much action in it at all.
Like 2 pages, if not
2
even.
pages. And it doesn't technically happen. It's like a dream.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or like so we get a lot of internal dialogue with our main character here, with him trying to find inspiration for this story, trying to find out, like what is it that he is trying to write. Like, what is it that what's the story that he's trying to tell? And the way that this book interacts is very what am I trying to say? The structure of this book is really non-traditional. Like, we get a lot of these panels, but like with words in between them. But we also start to see that the suit is maybe somehow something is like breaking through a little bit. I couldn't tell if this was trying to say that like his vision was getting blurred with this radiant thing.
I think it felt like the suit was like, it felt like the suit was subconsciously, hey, you know, like that kind of thing.
Right. Anyway, they, you know, he's sitting in his house for a while, and finally he just gets fed up and has to go take a break, and he goes and sees his friend, who I still just don't like him.
Okay, yeah, hold on. Let me. I want to tap in really quick.
Yeah.
The minute the friend showed up, I was like, enough with the friend. I don't give a shit about the friend, and that's not me saying like I want action. I genuinely don't like that character. I don't know what it is. I don't know why I don't like that character, but every time he pops up, I'm like, boring. I don't know.
The problem that I'm having with him is he is clearly supposed to be the foil for our main character, and he's bad at that. He doesn't present a lot of good opportunities for interaction or growth with our main character.
Right.
And he as a person is just annoying, and so it'd be okay with him if like every time they have an interaction, we leave that interaction feeling like our main character is in a better place, or the story's being moved along because of their interaction, and it's not. It almost feels bogged down.
It also feels that the main character is annoyed with him, because every time he comes on, he's like, "Bro, enough! Like, stop!" You know, and like it's almost, maybe that's on purpose. Maybe Higgins is writing it so that you feel annoyed, just because our main character is also really annoyed with his best friend or his friend.
Maybe his friend. It is during this part though that his friend comes up with his name, comes up with the name Radiant Black, and then he creates a social media account for him. Creates
like
a
really
Twitter
fast
account for him. But it's after this that he goes to a bar. Our main character goes to a bar and kind of starts writing for a little bit. Does he see it on the news? Is that what it is? Oh no, he says on the news it's like, oh, who is Radiant Black? But he goes back home and is typing in his bed and stuff. Then all of a sudden he gets thrown out of his room, and like it looks like his suit, but with a cape, comes crashing through and like pulls him out. And then it turns out it's not him, it's this other guy, and he says like,
I thought it was him, but it was like his future self or something like that.
Is that who it's supposed to be?
I thought it was him, but like, yeah, I thought it was like a vision of himself in the future, where he's like, you don't have the stones, basically. Like, you were not worthy of the suit.
I guess so. I guess I can see what you're saying, because the hair is very similar, but like,
he just has like a mustache.
He has a beard, and his skin complexion is completely different though. Like,
I don't
know, whatever. But, he like flies him up into the air and drops him, and he screams awake from his dream. He's like, oh my god, like, he basically says, you're not even worth it. And he's like, Nathan's like, wait, worth what? He's like, worth breathing. And he drops him. And then at one point, this family has like a flat tire or something, and they
this is weird
at the Radiant Black account, and is like, hey, could really use some help from Radiant Black right now. And so he's just sitting there. He's like, okay, well, I guess I'll go. And then he goes, and he literally has no idea what he's doing. Like, he has no idea how to change a tire, and he's so strong that he literally breaks the tire iron in half right away. And so he literally throws up his hands and was like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Sorry. And then they're like, okay, well, thanks. And he's like, wait, hold on, I got an idea. And then there's a full panel of him flying while he's just carrying the entire car wherever.
That was our action, really. I mean, that was the main.
Yeah, that was it. And then he basically stays up all night writing, and he finally gets an idea. And and it seems like maybe he's finally found his inspiration or his motivation, not inspiration, but motivation to get going.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say this is a strong issue. It's not a strong issue. No. It still has a lot of problems that this book is having. But it was intriguing enough that I'm going to keep going, seeing where we go from here.
I think it found its legs. It's starting to find its legs.
Starting to. I also same complaint as the Avengers title. I really am frustrated by the misdirection of having the red guy on here, and he doesn't show up at all. And it's the red guy fighting the caped version. And I just was like, what?
Didn't happen. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see what he's going to write about. I almost wonder if he's going to be pulling semi Peter Parker, where he's like writing stories about Radiant Black, and he's Radiant Black doing those things, kind of like how Peter Parker takes pictures of himself as Spider-Man.
Ooh.
So I wonder if that's where we're going here.
Maybe.
But like Flash, I'm ready to get there. I'm ready to figure it out. I'm ready to come on, let's
get there.
Let's get going. Anyway, Radiant Black 3.
Yo, cool. All right, last in our independence and for the show. This is gonna be a quick one, guys. Haha. Issue 4. I don't get it.
I didn't get it either.
Am I dumb? Somebody in the comments, let me know. I didn't get this. I actually don't quite understand the premise of haha. I just don't. I just am not there. I'm not on that level. I'm not saying it's bad, because I know it's good. I just don't get it. It's like a French film, right? You're like, I know that this is the
that's perfect analogy.
This is the pinnacle of cinema, and I'm like, can you blow something up? I don't know. I just don't get it. I didn't get it. I'm not trying to deter anybody from picking up the book. Artistically, it's a really colorful and imaginative book. It's really good. This looks dumb. Jade. It's not dumb. It's just there's clearly something deeper going on in this book, and I'm not getting it, and I feel horrible about that because I don't want to shit on a book. I just felt like we were going in a certain direction, and then I read this and I was like, this almost feels kind of happy. Am I missing something here? I don't know.
Yeah, so I feel exactly the same way, and I feel like maybe on my best week I could have gotten a little more out of it, but this week I literally I just started reading it, and it was like, man, the dots that it connected were fine. Comparative to issue 3, this issue was good. Comparative to issue 3, issue 3 was like, whoa, what? And it's not that I didn't get that one. I knew exactly what was going on that one, and I just didn't enjoy it. This one has something. It's got something there. I'm just missing it. Yeah, I'm missing it too. And I also with the first 2 issues, there was a little bit of a cohesion, or a little bit of a continuity there that made sense, and you understood a little bit of what was going on. And then I think we're starting to get into the more abstract storytelling of Prince. This is just that's what he does. So I don't want to say this is a bad issue, just like you're saying. I don't want to say this is trash and it's not good and it's too complex. I just missed it this week. Maybe another week I will get it, or maybe I just need to go see a review and have someone help me get there. Yeah. And then I'll be like, oh, it's cool, but I don't know. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what.
That's kind of how I felt reading the issue. I was like, what's going on? I feel like the cover is a little misguiding too, because you've got this television on the cover that's got a skull that's being kind of ominous, and I didn't get that when we were in this floating scape with the clown. I didn't get that either. I got more of a euphoric.
Well, I definitely got it at the end.
Well, yeah,
this will definitely get you there, I think.
Yeah, but even then, I was kind of like, okay, and I think there were clear connections to like cultural references. With the floating, like I've heard a clown say, everyone floats, like the
right. You all float,
the movie Up in balloons, like there were clear connections there, but I couldn't. When you were a kid and you would go to like a IHOP or a Denny's and they'd have that like connect the dots to make a picture, right? By numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of thing. I felt like I did that and it just looked like a abstract shape.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't feel like I did the puzzle right.
Yep. This is a terrible book to end on, but I just don't.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm still going to pick up. I'm going to get issue 4. I'm going to get issue 5 and 6, because that's the end of the run. And maybe there will be some cohesiveness, or maybe there isn't. Maybe that's just the point. It's just fucking random as shit. But I felt like it started really strong, and these past 2 issues have been kind of a miss for me, personally.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's our show. 2 hours, 20 minutes. Thanks everybody for joining, listening to us talk about our pools. We greatly appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We're trying to get to 250 so we can give away another slab. Give us a like. Yep, always. And yeah, again, thanks for hanging out with us. We greatly appreciate it. We love coming on here and talking comics every Friday. It's our hobby. Like, we're trying to get more people to read comics and join us in the fun. And what a great time to get into it right now. I think a lot of people have been, since, with the recent events that's going on right now, more and more people are getting onto this hobby. And we just want to expand the community. We want to be part of the community and grow it as well. And so we can't thank you enough for watching us. And we will be back again with a couple new videos this week. Obviously, segments from the show. We got a comic book haul video coming up on Wednesday. We're going to do Marvel solicitations next week. And we might be doing some speculation videos. Keep your eye out. Got a couple on the horizon. So thanks again for watching. And as always, read more comics. We'll see you guys later.
See ya.